Let's now welcome in the man who can be credited with discovering Ziggy Ansah. That's Ken Frei, and also Ansah's college roommate, linebacker Kyle Van Noy. Thanks to both of you for joining us. What a phenomenal story. Ken, if I could start with you, tell us about the original meeting on that basketball court in Ghana.
Yeah, so I was just kind of near the end of my Mormon mission there in Ghana, and was in my last area. And on our off days, we'd often go and play basketball. And Ziggy kind of stood out like a sore thumb. You know, there's not many 6'7" Ghanaians over there. And so as we started playing ball, I invited him to play with us. Just wasn't really worried about it, though, because most Ghanaians are terrible at basketball. But after he dunked on my head, realized that he was a pretty good athlete. So it was a good impression that he made on me right away.
Did it take some convincing to get him on the basketball court in the first place?
No, he loved playing sports. We often played soccer together. He loved basketball. You know, he's always been a big fan of LeBron James and some of the other NBA stars. So all it took was a little bit of razzing from me to get him, you know, to get him fired up and his competitive juices flowing, and we were playing pretty quickly.
Well, legend has it that football was really too violent a sport for Ziggy at first. What was his reaction, and this is for either one of you, when you brought him to his first football game?
So yeah, I actually took Ziggy to his first football game just as a spectator. That was when we both had come, you know, back to Utah from Ghana. Went to a BYU football game, and you know, it was just like, you know, anybody that had never seen football before. I had to explain to him, you know, how the scoring worked, all the first downs, all that kind of stuff. And Ziggy, I don't think loved the physical aspect of it right away. You know, he would kind of joke about it and say he was too delicate, and which is kind of funny now. But his reaction, I don't think was super excited at first, but obviously he's warmed up to it.
And Kyle, obviously the equipment is a little bit different in football versus soccer, but I hear he had some issues with the football equipment when he first started playing with you at BYU.
Yeah, he had major issues. He started putting on his shoulder pads backwards. His knee pads, thigh pads were put in different places. He was a mess. But it was fun to see someone so new and so big and so new at the game. And once he figured it out, he's super smart, and he's really made a big impression, not only here at BYU, but in the scouts' mind as well.
I'm sure there was no razzing whatsoever from you, his roommate, or any of his teammates, right?
Oh man, I still razz him all the time. My claim to fame for him is when I actually was the first one to actually hit him. I hit him pretty good. He still claims that I hit him the hardest, so that's my claim to fame, is I hit Ziggy Ansah the hardest.
Okay, you stick with that.
I will.
Obviously, I'm sure you will. You'll remind him for many years. Obviously, you both know Ziggy extremely well, and we have all learned quite recently here how physically talented he is. Is there something that you could share with the world about who he is as a person?
Yeah, so, you know, I've just been incredibly impressed with Ziggy as he's gone through this process. Obviously, not many people have to deal with, you know, kind of this type of fame coming at them so quickly. But, you know, I've just been incredibly impressed with how grounded he stayed. You know, he came and visited my wife's second grade class here just a couple months ago and spent time, you know, playing with the kids. You know, he just gives of himself so much. And he's an incredibly smart person. I mean, obviously people have seen how quickly he's picked up the game of football. So I would just say, you know, about him personally that, you know, it's just amazing how smart and how caring he is, even despite how quickly this fame has come.
Kyle,
yeah,
he enters.
I would.
Go ahead.
I was just going to second that how smart he is. He doesn't get enough credit of how smart he is. He's a statistics major, so he does crazy math problems, and he's super smart.
Kyle, Ziggy entered the season with 0 career starts, just 10 total tackles. When did you realize, as his fellow football player, that this guy was really, really good? Not just good, but extremely talented and is going to go to the next level?
I knew it from day one, just how big he was, how fast he was. He just needed to learn the game more. We all saw the potential, it wasn't until the Utah game where he started to take over the game. He started to get in the backfield, get off blocks, shed blocks, and make tackles, get after the quarterback. And I think when we saw that on tape, it was like, oh, this man's a freak. He's going to be pretty good. And so we started working with him more, and eventually he just found the love for the game and a burning desire to be great at it, and he's done a pretty good job at it.
Ziggy, I have read, has become a Mormon, and obviously for anybody who follows football, we know that the program at BYU is pretty different from most of the other college football programs around the country. There will definitely be some adjustments that he's going to have to make, going from the rules and regulations and the style of coaching, no swearing allowed at BYU, to the NFL. How do you think he's going to handle that?
I think he's going to do a great job. He's a humble human being. He's been through adversity in his life. He's seen it all. And I think going through a process like that he's been through is going to help him and benefit him in the long run in the NFL.
Ken, I think that you are the one that actually deserves the credit. You found Ziggy, right? I mean, you're the official scout. You have a future in scouting. Have you talked to NFL teams and tried to sell yourself a little bit? You did a good job here.
I'm just waiting for BYU to give me my offer here. You know, I brought him Ziggy, but no, you know, it's been fun. It's been fun for me to see him have the success. You know, I don't think I could really take credit for it. I mean, you know, obviously I met him and kind of helped him, I guess, get a start in the LDS church, and then you know, here at BYU. But he's become what he is because he's worked so hard and because he's been so dedicated. So I'm just really excited for him.
Obviously, you guys are like proud parents with Ziggy Ansah. Thank you so much for sharing your story and for supporting him. I'm sure he appreciates it more than anybody. Ken Frei and Kyle Van Noy from BYU. We appreciate your story here on SportsCenter. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.